to episode 18 of What's in Your Earbuds, our music podcast. We talk about music, some running. Every once in a while, we have runners on. This last week, our goal was to challenge everybody to submit some soundtrack selections or music score. And we'll go through that first, but we'll get Liz Myers. We have a special guest. Liz Myers is here. Liz just completed the FKT of the Across Florida Trail 200-mile. And I'm really curious what Liz listened to for, I believe it was 69 hours. She'll have to correct me on that.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's amazing. But I guess without further ado, let's bring Liz forward and let's get some insight into that. You have to correct me on the time. Was it 69 hours, Liz? Yeah.
Yep, 69 hours, 7 minutes, and 51 seconds to be
That's
exact.
amazing.
Just to be a little exact.
Just a little exact.
Yes. It's like drilled into my brain.
But yeah, so obviously we're really curious about what was in your earbuds for that. But first, maybe tell everybody that may be listening, like, who's Liz Myers? Because you host a great podcast. You're obviously like a badass runner. And just give us like the rundown of all those things. And then let's talk about music. We want to talk about running, but we can talk about music after that.
Very cool. Very cool. So my name's Liz Myers. I do host the podcast, The Tribe of Runners, where I like to share stories, my own story included, and just try to help out as many people as possible, inspiring any and everyone and letting everyone know like they're not alone. Someone has definitely experienced something very similar, if not very, 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 close to what they have experienced out there on the trail, to make everyone feel warm and welcomed. And, I love talking about running. Obviously, running is something that we all become very obsessed with and is one thing I truly do enjoy. And as you mentioned, at the end of 2024, I went after the Across Florida Trail and I got the fastest female time, right around 69 hours. So that was like a huge accomplishment last year. It's been crazy, and I'm very excited to see what this year brings.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So first of all, is this like, how rad is this that you did this amazing thing? And then kind of in the background, I was like, oh, I think I see some aftershocks or something in. So Liz definitely had a playlist going on. So
yes, yeah. And weirdly enough, I didn't listen to much. We
Yeah.
can get into it more. And there's only maybe like 20-ish miles that I was alone. Other than that, like I always had a pacer with me. And so in the midst, if I didn't have, or when I was alone, I truly didn't listen to anything when I was alone, except for maybe 5 miles. And then 2 occasions with a runner, 2 different runners. I did have some music playing. So we can get into that. But yeah, I did a lot of this without music, but with amazing conversations with
nice.
my pacers, which, I loved that. So I'd rather have that conversation at times, but I do train with music and podcasts and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Cool. So maybe run us through kind of what was going on. Like, what were you listening to when you had music on, or like maybe even during training? Give us some insights into like what visits your earbuds during those training runs. You had to do a lot of training for 200 miles. So.
Yes, for sure. So I'll kind of start with training runs and then like get into like what really hit during the 200, because we all know that some songs just like really, really do make you feel alive. So funny enough, like during majority of my training, if like I'm in a bad mood, I just throw on music. But if I'm in a good mood, like I listen to podcasts, I listen to audiobooks. I like, to learn and educate, and it's a free chance to do it while you're out running endless miles. But if I'm ever like in a rut, I always throw on some music. And in preparation for this 200, I probably had like 4 or 5 playlists that I just made into one. And it was the Across Florida 200 playlist for me. And it was like 70 some hours of songs. So I'm like, this is like perfect. There's no way I'm going to go through each song, even if I like skip a few during. And it sounds so funny. This range of songs goes like from when I remember like as a kid, like the 80s hair band my mom used to listen to while cleaning the house, that like I hear and it makes, good memories. And I'm like, I love this song, all the way to like my, younger years of like liking NSYNC or like Spice
Nice.
Girls, like all the songs that like I have so much shame to admit that I actually still listen to every once in a while. But like I wanted things that like would really put me in a better mood if I heard them, because as we all know, during these long distances, sometimes like you just need that random boost of excitement. So when I was actually out in the course, as I had mentioned, like I started the first few miles, or it was I started the first few miles solo, had no music. I had my headphones, but I didn't listen to anything. I picked up a pacer for a little bit, and so we chatted. And then I was solo again for a little bit. So I just threw on some music and some good tunes. And it was a lot. I have like a few two artists that like I love and I listen to on repeat too much. And that's Florence and the Machine and Freya Riding, funny enough. Some very like feminine songs. I love them. I jam out to them. And so like they were the ones that were popping up in this playlist. Like it's like they knew I just need that little bit of boost. And then when I was later in the race, I know at a certain point, like the first pacer that I had that I remember listening to music, like he had my playlist on and he just ran through some songs. So, and it just kept like, I swear every time I was like, oh, like I'm in such a horrible mood, a good song would come on. And at that time, like I was listening to some Nicki Minaj, some Megan Thee Stallion, like not appropriate songs, but like it was late at night. They made me laugh and I was singing, and it was just like a really, really good time. So like I remember that so much, like, the funny, inappropriate songs, and he couldn't believe I was singing these. So it was like just a really good time. And then I had sort of really bad lows. So like we turned off the music, kind of like just let me go through. And the second day, going into the second night, I had a buddy of mine and he had a speaker as well. And I'm pretty sure he played my playlist, or he just had some songs that were identical to mine. It's all kind of a blur, but like every song like brought me back to childhood. And it was just like, we would run a song, walk a song. It was like every run a song was so good. I was pumped up. And like some of those songs, like it's super silly, but it's a song that really makes me think of my sister. And it's it's a country singer, and it's Days Go By. I can't think of the actual artist right now. I'm drawing a blank. But it's like it just makes me think of my sister. So, and she was out there crewing me. So like it was just a great song. It really hit well. And then If You're Going Through Hell, it's another older song. That song came on and I like screamed it, and he was dying laughing. I was like, this is just it connected with me so much. So like a lot of songs, it was so weird, like hit and really made me like just resonate so much. And then when it was like a walk song, it was like a very slow, very mild, a good song to walk to. And then like another song would pop on and it'd be something like fast paced. And I remember like Girls Just Want to Have Fun came on at one point, and I was like, let's go, like, let's run. And so like we started running towards it. So it was just amazing how it happened. And I know a lot of songs he didn't know. So like I'm singing them and he's like, I actually don't know this song, but we had a good time through it.
Cool.
So it was awesome.
You're Going Through Hell, is that Red Atkins? I think that okay.
I think so. It sounds so bad. I am horrible with remembering titles and or names of people. So I just like, yeah, that song,
I love that. So now that you're post AF 200, have you ever like revisited that playlist of yours, and like or maybe one of those songs came up and it like took you back to like a moment on that?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's like my favorite thing. Yeah. I had this conversation before, not on a music podcast, but we were like talking about like, I can remember like this certain part of the trail when I heard like, this song or whatever. And I think that's kind of cool, like how music will like transform you back to like, like to like a memory of like your sister, or like your mom, like your mom cleaning the house. Cause I have a song that does that. Like there's certain songs that take me back to like a moment. And I just think it's kind of cool. I'm sure you can agree with that. I just think like it's cool how like music will just like kind of like transport you somewhere else for a little bit.
For sure. And I not to say I forgot to mention, but like I remember two songs, and every time I hear them, I always think of my one pacer. Funny enough, her name is Lizzie. And like they were two songs that like I had just recently heard, but I really liked them. And one's Me and the Devil, and the other one is In This Shirt, I believe it's called. And they're like very weird, kind of like in-depth meaningful, heartful songs, like not something you think running would like you'd listen to, but like we were just like cruising through and I was like, oh, I actually really love this song right now. And we would listen to it. And then she's like, oh my gosh, I love that song. And so like we would talk about that song. And then it's just like weird things like that. Like you said, like it takes me back to that moment in the race and I vividly remember it. And then there's other times that like I see pictures of videos and I'm like, I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, but there's lots of moments like that, especially when you're moving for 69 hours and change. That's amazing. What's like your favorite pump up song? You mentioned some pump up songs. Like, so what's like your all time favorite pump up song?
Oh, it's probably you're gonna kind of laugh. It's from The Greatest Showman, and it's called "This Is Me."
This works. You're talking about movie soundtracks, and so The Greatest Showman.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a very soulful song. How I like to say it, you know, like it really it takes me back to like my inner self to remember to be me. And anytime I hear it, like I will scream it. I love that song. It's really good.
Yeah. Speaking of movie soundtracks, this seems like a really great segue to something I'm hoping Lori will share with us about soundtracks. So we had some people actually submit like their favorite soundtrack songs too. And Lori was going to share something with us.
Oh, yes. So
Heck yeah.
when Jason or anyone, but mostly Jason's around, when he is on a phone call and I am trying to read through like technical documentation or papers, I have to drown him out. And so and classical music, because again, I can't listen to someone talking. And so I pulled up classical music the other day and I had totally forgot that I like actually enjoyed this soundtrack, and it's very embarrassing. So everybody, let's go back to the year of like 2008 to the most popular teen movie that came out. And this might be, I don't know how old you are, Liz, but this might have been your like young youth. So Twilight has the Twilight soundtrack, Bella's Lullaby, is like the ultimate like classical music like piece that you could listen to. And you know what's funny is Apple Music, I was listening to it on Apple Music, and so it'll just roll to like something like that if you don't have like a next song. It brought up, I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I'm sorry to all the Harry Potter fans out there, but it brought up like a Harry Potter classical, like the score from Harry Potter, and I was like, I kind of like this too, maybe better than I liked the movie when I tried to watch it. So I just thought it was rather embarrassing that I was sitting here listening to the Twilight soundtrack. Like,
I guess I never I'll be fully honest. I have watched the first Twilight movie by myself. I don't know why I just picked it up. I was like, I guess I wasn't paying attention to the music, but so I just admitted that in front of everybody. But
that's pretty awesome. You watched the Twilight movie by yourself. But I mean, the soundtrack is pretty good. It's got Paramore, Linkin Park. It's got some Flightless Bird, American Mouth on it. And then Jason would like to know from the back room, how does it happen that Joe is watching the Twilight movie by himself, considering he has a wife and children also?
It was just one of those very, very weird Netflix moments. It was like, all right, what's this? I couldn't turn it off.
What's this sparkly vampire guy doing on my television?
I'm team Edward, I guess.
You're team Edward? We could have a whole discussion about that probably. When I was younger and more emotionally damaged, I was team Edward. I don't know that I am anymore. I think we all evolve as people, maybe, but... So that was my embarrassing soundtrack.
That's awesome.
That's
so Liz,
awesome.
what do you think? We kind of mentioned the soundtrack, pump up song that's a soundtrack, but what do you like? If you had to put your finger on one, like the ultimate soundtrack or like movie score, what do you think that would be?
It probably, honestly, The Greatest Showman. I love all of the. It's a musical.
I've never paid attention to the soundtrack on that one, but I know people like love it.
Yeah, I would have to say it's honestly probably that movie, or I'm not gonna lie, like a Moana.
Oh
I used to live with my sister, and she's got 4 little kids. I could jam out to some Moana or like
Here's
Here's
Frozen
another
all day long.
embarrassing thing. I used to be able to recite the entire Aladdin movie when I was young. My sister
that's
would not watch it with me because she was like, "You just say all the words and you sing all the songs, and it's so annoying." So sorry to my sister.
That's a great movie, though. That's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
Moana
It
is
is.
too. That's a solid movie. It's been a while since I've seen Frozen, but
I love Frozen.
I had no complaints.
Like I have to like sing "Let It Go" to Jason all the time. Let it go.
Oh, I love it.
And
Gone in 60, yeah, from the back room. Top Gun is a solid soundtrack. Gone in 60 Seconds. Oh, I forgot about Gone in 60 Seconds. That is a great one too.
Top Gun is definitely up there. Gone in 60 Seconds also.
Yeah, I can never make up my mind. I think I've answered this question like 10 times on this podcast, and I always bounce around between different soundtracks. But I think I'm finally going to land on Forrest Gump. I think that's one of the best soundtracks. Maybe I'll change my mind in a couple hours.
It does have a good like Vietnam era soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to remember, and I do remember some of the music. And Forrest Gump.
And so speaking of soundtracks, Liz, we also asked people last week to submit their soundtracks, like I just talked about. Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, Full Metal Jacket's got a good
same
one.
vibe. Yeah, same Vietnam type vibe.
Maybe I'll give you a little kind of like a backstory to like what we have. So we have a playlist too that all this goes on, and our goal is to have 24 hours of listener and community submitted songs by Haviland 100.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so
right
this is going to be the sketchiest playlist ever invented.
Yeah. And it's it's got 14 hours and 15 minutes as of today, and there's like 29 or 30 people that are like on the playlist and adding songs to it. So we have no control over it. It's just whatever people comment in like a thread thing or like on Instagram. So it's getting pretty it's all over the place. But real quick, I was going to read who the people who submitted songs this last week. So Runs to Left, that's Will Eady. He had Survivor by Burning Heart. The Rocky soundtrack, that's a great one too.
Yeah, Rocky soundtrack. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. And Ryan Reynolds, A Man After My Own Heart, he had a Ben Folds 5 song, the Godzilla soundtrack, Air. That's a great song too. Ben Folds 5 is a great group. And this was kind of cool. So this comes from Strava. Someone messaged me from Strava. I ran a backyard with this guy named Joe Kern. So shout out to Joe Kern. He submitted a song. So people are listening to this podcast apparently.
Hey everybody!
Yeah, we were like when I got that message, I was surprised. I'm like, oh wow, people are listening to the podcast. And his song was "Too Many Dirty Dishes" by Tad Benoit. It's like a bluesy sort of vibe.
Do we have much jazz on the or on the playlist yet?
I felt like there was Thelonious Monk on there.
Blues
and Kevin Shea, who's always adding to this playlist and a super awesome person. Power of Love by Huey Lewis. That's the Back to the Future soundtrack.
Yes, Back to the Future is a good one too.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. And thank you everybody that added this week. And if I forgot your song, I want you to call me out. Message me, at me, I'll fix it. So,
blame Joe.
Blame me. Yeah. Adam Turry loves jazz. He loves Miles Davis. I've actually heard him say that.
To the right. So this started because last week someone told me they were listening to the Mamma Mia soundtrack, which is up there with like The Greatest Showman as far as like soundtracks people love listening to that make you happy and joyful and stuff. So then we got on this soundtrack topic, and there's a lot of good ones out there. A lot of good. We were talking in the green room, back room, whatever you want to call it, before it started about video game music soundtracks as well. Assassin's Creed has a popular one, from what I recall. Final Fantasy. A lot of people like the old 8-bit like Mario music with the little beep beep beep.
Oh yeah.
I won't sing you my rendition of that. To your funny point about like inappropriate music that just kind of came on, like yesterday when I started running, the first song that, because I don't listen to music unless I'm in like a path that doesn't have traffic or anything, very populated path. And so I was on the beach path yesterday. First thing that came on was like Nicki Minaj, and we can all guess what song it was. And
yeah.
So I was like, well, that was a ride first thing. And I can obviously sing along and stuff. Is there a song that you will ask your, virtual assistant to play in your ears if you need like pumped up? Is that the song that you mentioned before, or Joe, do you have one?
A pump up song right now?
Like I'd say, hey Siri, like when I'm fading in like this run yesterday, I will say, hey Siri, and I'll say, play whatever song. Do either of you have a song like that?
Oh, go ahead, Liz. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to think. Right now, like I have a song, but I wouldn't say it's a pump up song. But I've been listening a lot to. I believe it's called "In." Let me see.
Are you a hyper focus?
In the
Ooh,
shirt.
okay.
And like I will listen to.
So you're
it
like
on
me.
repeats.
You're a hyper focus. You'll get like one song going for like over and over and over.
I do.
Yeah, for like a few weeks, and then like I let it die off, and then I'll randomly pick it up again, and I'll love it again.
I don't know if I want to admit this song in a podcast. I'll do it. So
do it.
When I mentioned that I listen to like gangster rap, people are like, "You?" I'm like, "Yeah." My pump up song has been "If It Ain't Live" by Mystical lately, and same thing. If I'm running if I just need to run fast for like a half an hour, I'll do the same thing, Liz. I'll just listen to it the whole time. Like it's fine. It'll just do it for me again the next time I play. So that's been my pump up song. I like metal too, but like metal doesn't really. It almost pumps me up too much.
Yeah.
It's like I need something like that pumps me up, but doesn't push me too far almost. But
so I think I mentioned it last week, but mine's "Burn" by Ellie Goulding. I think it's Ellie Goulding. And that's kind of been going on since November. If you can figure out why. I'm just like, let's burn. Also, Siri cracked me up yesterday because after Burn was over, I was like, Siri, you gotta play Work, bitch. And she was like, now playing Work. And I was like, that's not what I asked. I don't even know what this is. And then I realized she was blipping out the like second word. Like, so then she was like, oh, I was like, okay, thank you. But Jason would like us to remember he listened to Dance Monkey for what was it, like 4 hours or something when we did
yeah.
I considered actually yesterday while I was running, I'm like, maybe I should see if anybody, because we're probably doing another looped race in April. And so I was like, maybe I should take suggestions, but I'm like, I don't think I could hang with an audience suggestion for very long. If you want to threaten how long I can listen to a song that I actually like, now that might be more entertaining. But if you force Dance Monkey or something on me, I don't know if I'd listen to it very long. I'd probably throw my headphones.
I sometimes forget that we challenge Jason to do that, and I actually need to I have to pay the piper and do this too at some point because So Jason tried to listen to Dance Monkey for 6 hours. I think he got to 4 hours.
Maybe
I'm just like, yeah. So I'm just like, wow.
And it was 106 degrees in the desert. So props to him because it was a bad day for everyone that day. And to be that miserable and listen to the same song nonstop is pretty impressive.
Someday I got to pay my dues on that. So we have a question. What is your favorite song of all time, Liz? We'll have to add this to the list. I know that's tough. Maybe just hard. Now, what's your favorite? Because I know that changes all the time, right? Because in a week, my favorite song would be different. But
I would have to say within the past say 2 years, because it probably has changed so much. I love "Rise" by Freya Riding. It's probably that's probably if I'm having a bad day, I could I would listen to that, and it's just a song I genuinely really like. So I would say it has to be that one.
That'll go on the list too. So
Very cool.
So yeah. Oh, nice. It Takes Two, but that is a good song.
It Takes
Jason
Two.
from the Back Room. It Takes Two by Rod Bass and DJ Easy Rock. That is a really, really good song.
He claims not to be a musical person, but yeah, we've had like 10 or 20
That's
comments.
what I'm saying. So lately, Jason has just been like throwing all these suggestions out for non-musical, right? It's actually
Yeah.
He doesn't,
some of them, like,
give credit, listen to like music when he runs or anything typically. It is funny though, because he hates Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars right now. Well, he especially hates Bruno Mars. Like, he usually likes them just fine, but it's not a hate. It's more like if they come on the radio one more time, I'm gonna lose it. And so now Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper's song keeps coming on the radio too, and he's like, stop making me listen to
oh man.
Yeah, so
Well,
send him all the Bruno Mars songs.
I don't know if can I name a Bruno Mars song right now?
So we were climbing this like horrible hill here, and I was like, "Oh, I heard you really wanted to hear Bruno Mars," and I sang to him. Like, I was like, "Treasure," and he was like,
yeah.
"Stop!" And yeah, you can sing all of the,
It's going on the list. It's going on the list.
His version, I want to be a fucking billionaire, not just a billionaire.
Yeah.
I want to be a billionaire. Yeah, he was so excited for me to sing to him up this horrible hill.
I mean, should that be the next loop race challenge? Is that song?
The Lady Gaga Bruno Mars one from the last movie. I challenge him to listen to that for 3 minutes.
So Liz, if you had to listen to a song for 4 hours, what do you think that would be? Right?
I think I could do Rise, to be 100% honest.
Maybe we should do a competition of this. Like, how long are your treadmill runs, right? Like, lately?
You did
3 hours. I don't think I could do a treadmill run with one song. I think I would go insane.
I mean, it's not that much different than a looped race.
True.
I mean, you have people to talk to at a looped race, I suppose.
Or at least like the scenery moves. You know what I mean? Like you are staying still for 3 solid hours. But the incline change is always nice. That's what I like. I'm like 5 more minutes of this incline. Then I get done that. I'm like only 10 more minutes of this incline. So that
now we all have to do a looped race and like challenge one song for. I'd let you pick your own song. Like, that's just me to force someone else's song.
What do you think yours would be, Lori, if you had to pick one song for like? I don't even know what to say to that right now. But
I mean, I could probably. Yeah, that's an excellent question. I probably could do Burn right now, but if you asked me again, some other time, that's tough. But there's a lot of songs that I probably could do it with. If you gave me one of the upbeat Taylor Swift songs, maybe not one of her like sad ones. I was about to finish my run yesterday, but if anybody read Threads, someone was a half an hour late back to the rendezvous point. So I was like still running. And You Can Do It, Put Your Back Into It, if you want to talk about rap. That came on.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, now I can't stop running because, you can do it, put your back into it. So
that is a banger.
But I could maybe listen to. I'd probably get bored of it after a while. But
I'd be afraid to pick something I like because then I probably would never want to listen to it ever again.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's so
Jason
true.
wants to listen to Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. Well, good for him that he gets to do a 50-mile looped race in less than a month.
All right.
So we should see how long he can make it with Espresso.
Oh man.
If you gave him multiple Sabrina Carpenter songs, he could definitely do it. Like Feather, Sorry, Espresso. There's probably another one.
To. I bet there's. I've listened to some Bob Marley on repeat. Like, what's that song? Natural Mystic by Bob Marley. It depends on where I'm at though. Like, like I ran like 15 miles when we were in Gulf Shores last year, and just like that song was on repeat for probably 12 miles of it. But I was just like I was like blown away by where I was. So I was like kind of not really paying attention to what I was listening to anyways, because it's like one of those things like, hey, say Natural Mystic Marley, and I just didn't want to get my phone out to change the song. So I listened to that for I listened to that for like a couple hours. But
So lastly, I think the last 100-miler I did talking about the Rocky soundtrack. I listened to No Easy Way Out for quite a while. Like it might have been like 20 miles there at the end when I was trying not to yell at people. But yeah, I think I listened to No. And so I still like belt that out, like just randomly running.
Well, Liz,
there's literally no easy way out of that.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you could just tell everybody where everybody can find you and like to follow along. Tribe of Runners, great podcast. I got to be on that podcast a while back, and it was a lot of fun. So maybe just tell everybody that, and then I suggest giving Liz a follow too. You will not be disappointed with the Tribe of Runners podcast. It's an amazing podcast. But
thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And the easiest way is on social media, Instagram. My personal is it's Liz Myers or at it's Liz Myers. And then I do have one for my podcast as well, and it's Tribe of Runners. You can hit me up on there if you have any questions. I'm always up to talk about running. And if you have an amazing story and want to share it, always reach out. I would love to have you on the podcast.
Cool. Thanks, Liz. Thanks for coming on and just we talk about music for a little bit. So I appreciate you coming on. This has been awesome. And anybody listening, thanks for tuning in. Keep these songs just as coming. These are amazing. We'll get to 24 hours. We've got 10 more hours to go by October. So everybody, thanks for tuning in to what's on your earbuds. I'll get that right one of these days. What's in your earbuds with the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. And as always, like, share, rate, and review the pod. We cannot do this without your support, and we appreciate you all for tuning in. And we will